I've probably had to get, I'd say, 25 stories corrected for problems large and small. And I'll tell you the last one, the latest one, which is really hilarious. Steve Padilla was sworn in last week, and it ended up being a big debacle for other reasons. But he was sworn in last week as a port commissioner. Later on that night, 8 or 9 hours later, Chula Vista ended up naming somebody else instead of him. It was a really humiliating thing for him. But the story that ran in the Union Tribune said he was sworn in with his wife and kids in attendance. Now, anybody who knows Steve Padilla knows he's gay. And he was sworn in by his partner. There's no wife and kids there. And that wasn't a lead to the story. So, of course, I call up the Union Tribune, and I find the editor who I know, because I know most people at the Union Tribune. I said, hey. Yeah, where do you want me to start on this one? Was that person even there who wrote the piece? And the person wasn't there. The woman wasn't even there. And yet she talked to me, and had she asked me who swore him in, was his family there, I could have answered the question. But she didn't ask. So they had to correct it. And stuff like that happens. It's really, you just shake your head. But you find some of that stuff. So, anyway.
When I was working in the city attorney's office under Michael Geary, remember Mount Soledad?
Yes.
Remember the, the landslide?
Yes.
It was amazing to me that it was reported that Mike ran to the scene after seeing the cameras. And as I tried as hard as I could to try to correct that story, and had discussions with reporters who were repeating the information, and that is, Mike was there just minutes before the landslide went down, because our deputy city attorneys and investigators were on the scene because we were red tagging homes. And the city attorney's office needed to be there because the city of San Diego was concerned that the residents of those homes, that there might be some issues, legal issues of explaining what that meant, their home being red tagged, which means they had to leave. And I tell you, I could never get that story corrected to this day, even though we filed a report, an investigative report, chronological order of events. No one has ever read that report. No, I mean, it's there, even when it was happening afterwards. And to this day, the story continues to repeat itself. That Mike ran there to get publicity. No, he was on the scene before any of the media arrived, before, the major landslide. And it was, and I call that, what is that kind of reporting called? It's, now I can't remember the word that I'm using. It's,
gotcha? Re-reporting?
It's when everybody jumps on the same bandwagon and does it.
Feeding frenzy.
Yeah, and nobody, I mean, it was, so anyway.
Yeah.
I feel your pain.
Sometimes the best approach is to, in fact, to refute what you believe is inaccuracies, is just to quote back things that have already been printed in a paper. Columnist Jim Tragasser, I think that's how you pronounce his name, I'm not sure.
Tragasser.
Tragasser, thank you. Wrote a story about vital public function, and he said that he was astounded that Supervisor Horn voted for some land to be preserved in Elfin Forest. And he said that setting aside part of our wilderness for our grandkids and their grandkids to enjoy was utterly foreign to Bill. Well, we were able to list 5 things that had appeared in the North County Times about the supervisor voting for land preservation. In fact, an editorial within the North County Times praising him for doing that. So sometimes you can come back and, in fact, give them back the words that they have already done to show that. So one other thing that to show you what we deal with, this happened, and it may be the most egregious incident that in my years of 9+ years, there was a part-time 2-bit whatever columnist who's still writing for the North County Times. I don't mean to keep picking on the North County Times. Chris Nichols
no, we love it.
Is one of the 2 or 3 people who I do respect. J. Harry Jones heads the list. What a wonderful reporter and solid individual he is, honorable man. But there was an individual who called up a nonprofit, and she said, "I love the work that you do." The supervisor had given them a grant to enable them to get a website going to help them with their nonprofit. And she says, I love what you do," but she said, and this individual told me, she said, "I hate Bill Horn, and I just can't do a story on you because he has supported you. And the only way that I'm going to do a story is if you write a letter to the North County Times disavowing your relationship with Supervisor Horn."
Is this a reporter?
This is a columnist.
A columnist?
Yes.
Have you told our editors about this?
Yes, I did. Dan
Okay.
McSwain, we had a discussion on that. It was something I did not think was, I mean, it was like blackmail. That, and I was
Yeah,
shocked. And
not good.
that person is still writing an occasional column. I don't know, what do they get, $25 a column or whatever they get when they do freelance.